Hey, alright. Sorry, there's been a bit of a delay here in videos. My wife and I kind of came into some financial situations, and being able to record and stay consistent was going to become difficult. But welcome to the Fandom Stranger channel. I felt it necessary to talk about what's going on in comic books recently. I've been kind of checking out a little bit of the news, but there's been a lot happening and developing, especially with the COVID stuff, that's worth talking about. Um, so let's, before I get to the main topic on hand, just catching up where I'm at. I'm learning about the Valiant closing down their their office in New York, which of course makes sense. The state of New York charges way too much in property taxes and employment taxes and payroll taxes, and it's absurd to keep your business in New York at this point. Honestly, it's a smart idea on Valiant's behalf. I just wish that they would have been far more specific about why they did, or more honest about why they did what they did, instead of saying, trying to make some kind of excuse like, oh no, we're actually okay. Like, no, we've got plenty of money. It's like, you could just simply say, hey man, we just want to trim some fat and maybe look into another state, because I mean, people aren't dumb, they know what's going on. But I understand why they can't put all the blame on New York, because if they want to film there for whatever reason, they don't want to have some damaged bridges that they're going to have to rebuild with, people in New York City and the state of New York, so they can get their rights to their films and their TV and whatever they're going to do in there. So that makes sense. So they can't throw New York and De Blasio and Cuomo under the bridge or under the bus. Uh, so that makes sense. Now when it comes to like DC, obviously we've all been hearing about the cancellations of titles and the mass firing, but I think that there's something important that not many people are bringing up, and that's the Assembly Bill 5 employment status here. So I'm going to go ahead and read you what it says on the Employment Development Department. Assembly Bill 5, recently signed into law, replaces the common law test with the ABC test to determine whether a worker is an employee or an independent contractor in California. Effective January 1st, 2020, hiring entities are required to classify workers as employees unless they meet all the conditions of the ABC test. So, A, the person is free from control and direction of the hiring entity in connection with the performance of the work, both under the contract for performance of the work and in fact. B, the person performs work that is outside the usual course of the hiring entity's business. And C, the person is customarily engaged in independently established trade, occupation, or business of the same nature as that is involved with the work performed. Continuing on, note that after January 1st, 2020, workers will be considered employees unless proven otherwise. The hiring entity must show that workers meet all the conditions of the ABC test in order to classify them as independent contractors, unless there is a statutory exclusion or determination of employment. 85 does not change how out-of-state workers are classified. We will continue to update this page as they get more information. So this is very, very important here, because this particular bill, if you go look it up, it's Lyft and Uber have been battling with the state of California because of how they operate. They're a company that kind of contract freelance drivers to work for them. Now, how that's relevant for DC is DC's based in California, and most of their staff are freelance, so this bill definitely affects them. This means that DC will they'll be forced to start hiring their freelance to make them actual employees, or they're going to be restricted in how many freelancers they can use and how they use their freelancers to begin with. I learned about this from watching a recent video by Tim Pool, as they were talking about how Uber and Lyft are talking about getting out of California. So that had me thinking that maybe this is one of the main reasons why DC is shrinking their business down, because you can't have a loss leader hiring on what 20, 30 artists and 12 writers, and having that stable. I'm sorry, actually it should be more than that when it comes to artists, because you have inkers, colorists, pencilers, and your letterers. So your letterers are probably going to end up, there's probably only going to be like one or two that are going to be working for them in the long run, unless artists do double duty and do that themselves. So they really have to trim it down, because with this new bill, that means that everybody who works for DC are going to end up becoming actual employees and not just freelance contractors that can kind of come and go whenever. Like, this is going to be it. Now, one of the main things about this bill is that because of the contract, one of the other aspects of it, let me get back to my page here. Okay, so furthermore, right? So the California Assembly Bill 5 is a state statute that expands the landmark Supreme Court of California case of Dynamex Operations West Incorporated versus the Superior Court. In that case, the court held that most workers are employees, ought to be classified as such, and the burden of proof of classifying individuals as independent contractors belongs to the hiring entity. AB 5 entitles workers classified as employees to, and check this, greater labor protections such as minimum wage laws, sick leave, unemployment, and workers' compensation benefits, which do not apply to independent contractors. Concerns over employee misclassification, especially in the gig economy, drove support for the bill, but it remains divisive. So that's one of the main things, guys, is that AT&T and DC, they're going to realize that they can't bring on all these people, all these freelancers. They're all going to have to get, a lot of them are going to have to get let go, because otherwise they're going to have to be classified as employees, and they're going to have to be given their health benefits and worker benefits and sick leave. This bill was heavily backed by unions in order to encourage businesses to treat employees better, or to stop hiring independent contractors, because independents can, they can fly by, basically fly by night. They can do whatever they want, and you get labor out of it, as opposed to now you're going to guarantee the employee benefits and protections and such. So I think this is one of the main reasons why DC is looking to shrink their stuff down, because they know what's coming down the pipeline. It's California. Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi and all these other idiots that run that state are clearly going to make this pass, and not only that, but more than likely start expanding it. So in one way that it was described to me is that if you are an independent creator and you know how to make something, you can't just make something and sell it to a company, because you're not an employee. That's another aspect of it too. So it's harder for it'll be harder for independent contractors like artists and stuff to do work for companies and try to sell their products here. So this is something that we're going to have to take into consideration, is honestly just bad laws. And I noticed that this is an aspect that I didn't see really hardly anybody bringing up during the initial announcements of the DC bloodbath. So I figured I would let you guys know about that, and let me know what you think. If you're probably new to the channel, I got 29 subscribers. I haven't made a video in months, so I pretty much assume that none of you have ever heard of me. So if you are a bigger creator and you take interest in it, just, hey man, shoot me a mention. You can clip whatever you want out of this video. It's cool with me, man. Just give me a shout out. So everybody, make sure to like that smash button there down at the bottom. You can subscribe if you want. the more subscribers I get, if I start getting more, maybe I'll try to make more videos. I don't know. I'm honestly right now I'm trying to learn how to draw and start making my own comic book because I can't rely on anybody to draw for me. Apparently, I've already lost $300 to paying artists trying to get something done for some books I'm working on, and they just take my money and run and don't uphold their end of the deal. So I'm gonna have I got a lot of issues coming up here soon. So hopefully I don't have to take anybody to court. Hopefully somebody will start producing some kind of work. But that's another reason why I'm having an issue with the independent contractor artist field. So hopefully I can get you guys something. I'm hoping to come out with a comic. Like I said, I just gotta learn how to draw. I'm a terrible drawer, but I'm a pretty decent storyteller. So hopefully I can get you guys something. With that, I'm gonna say peace out.